Yo, honestly, like the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero what ifs in story mode was very underwhelming, especially when you compare it to games in the past like Raging Blast, the Budokai Tenkaichi games that went through all the stories, had plenty of what ifs and variety, even the ones that are pretty unrealistic and funny, like Cell absorbing Krillin or something like that. And yeah, I'm gonna explain why it was better. And yeah, let's get to. Alright, so basically the what ifs in past games were more creative and fun than Sparking Zero, such as Budokai Tenkaichi 2, where it went on about Raditz losing his memory, getting close to Goku and Gohan, then gaining them back, and even though like kind of turning more sane and kind of evil, he still like remembers the times where he was with Goku and Gohan, and he decides to sacrifice himself nobly, like a real brother. And in Tenkaichi 3, you have what ifs like Zarbon betraying Frieza, giving someone like him a story surprisingly. You got even a funny one too, like instead of Future Trunks showing up, you have Spike the Devilman showing up to face Mecha Frieza and King Cold, using his Devil Might Beam to defeat them with their own evil. And when you compare Sparking Zero's what ifs, like Goku going Super Saiyan, which was explored a bit in even handheld games or what ifs of that sort, like some light what ifs and all that, it's not even close. It just feels kind of safer and less bold. And there might be reasons someone might disagree, and the reasons might be because how Sparking Zero had custom battles which let the fans be able to make what ifs and scenarios, joke meme fights, and do their own creativity. They might bring up like how the fans can at times make better like what ifs already made by the developers and scenarios in the custom battles worldwide, and then they can do their own thing, do the subtitles, make a story, even like make ridiculous facial expressions and choose the map location and the scenario and fight and where that starts at. So basically their points might be how fans can create two like what ifs, which makes it suddenly better than, or not suddenly, but like in their opinions, like quote unquote better than previous Dragon Ball Z video games, like in terms of what ifs and creativity on that of that. And already right off the bat, this isn't the best way. Maybe there's people out there that want to actually play what ifs in these scenarios without having to worry on an internet connection and online stuff. And the fact that the creators barely did much in story and what ifs as much and left most of the creative side to the fans with the custom battles, those same people that were very excited for what the creators were seemingly going to cook up was very much underwhelming. And when you try to compare all that to how the feeling in Raging Blast or the Budokai Tenkaichi games, for example, where creators are bold enough to make ridiculous stuff like Cell accidentally absorbing Krillin at Android 18 and becoming Selenin, or what ifs literally including non-canon movie characters or villains, or one where Bardock literally goes and meets his grandsons Gohan and Goten and has a fight against them, which is very creative out of the box. And when you do all this without even needing an online connection at all to play this stuff, like this at the time, and the creators of the game seemingly tried without just playing safe, it's so much more satisfying fun than a game with what ifs ran on by the fans most somehow. The thing Sparking Zero could have done is develop the characters' stories more like Vegeta, who barely had any meaningful what ifs, as much and was left in the Buu Saga oddly. And they could have developed other characters to Dragon Ball Super that they had, which could have given more a chance of more interesting Dragon Ball Super type of what ifs. That's what I would have done, basically. I'd also have tried to implement more what ifs instead of leaving it mostly to custom battles, which is good but also underwhelming, especially with the hype in the trailer and the passive Sparking Zero, making it out to be more hype than it really is. So yeah, the good thing is this game taught me to be more careful when buying a new game at launch and not getting like some deluxe version and stuff. Because there's really companies out here that might like really just scam people like crazy like this. And yeah, some of you might point out or say the Gohan Black what if in Sparking Zero and how creative and unique that is. And you actually have a point bringing that up, because the what if like starts with Gohan going into his ultimate form in this event of the resurrection of F Saga, and managing to defeat Golden Frieza on his own, and begins to take training more seriously earlier on post resurrection of F Saga and Dragon Ball Super, training with Piccolo, and all culminates to eventually Gohan fighting against Hit in this event of the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 saga, and eventually Zamasu seeing Gohan's ridiculous potential and deciding to use his body instead of Gohan here. And yeah, this what if, I can't argue with this. It's amazingly creative, it has great storytelling, but one what if is still not enough to top multiple amazing quantity and quality what ifs that were in the older Tenkaichi and Raging Blast games, which is why I'd still give it the edge, but the type of question is totally valid, hard to argue against. So yeah, all in all, I explained how Dragon Ball games of the past had more overall boldness and creativity with what ifs such as Raditz losing his memory, Zarbon betraying Frieza in the Namek Saga, and Spike the Devilman showing up instead of Future Trunks to deal with Mecha Frieza and King Cold, using their evil against them as compared to the ones in terms of sparking Zero's what ifs compared to this one. I explained why one might disagree, like bringing up the online fan creativity space in custom battles where you can design and make some story even if goofy and make that stuff up. And I explained how this is still sort of underwhelming due to the trailers and how hyped Bandai Namco made the story and the what if seem in the trailers, and when most of the storylines and what ifs were mostly slight alterations, and how in custom battles you'd need to worry about having online or internet connection properly working. I said what they could have done is actually finish the story modes properly for characters, or do some update which would have given us more what ifs to go off in Dragon Ball Super. Also Vegeta's story and such, and also did acknowledge how Sparking Zero did deliver with Gohan Black, the story and the creativity in it, and how no doubt you can't argue against it, but how older games of Tenkaichi or Raging Blast still had more variety to go off of. And yeah, if that's all there is to it, if you enjoyed this video and found it factual or entertaining, don't hesitate to like or subscribe. I appreciate that, and since that'll be much appreciated. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, and take care.